Seaports are a vital and integral part of any nation's economy. Most of the highly developed nations of the world attain this status by optimally leveraging on the inherent wealth of their maritime assets, to which they commit huge resources in the development of the needed supporting infrastructure. Maritime America is particularly unique among maritime nations of the world on its massive investment in the development of its maritime infrastructure in terms of scope, magnitude, and diversity. Welcome. It's great to have you join us on today's edition of Maritime Update, where we bring to you every week activities in the maritime industry. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Here in Nigeria, it is true there is a growing recognition of the enormous positive impact that the Nigerian maritime industry can make on the nation's economy. Many industry watchers even believe that the sector has the capacity not only to grow the economy, but to pull other sectors to greater speed and enhance productivity. In this episode, we'll be focusing on the key events that took place this week. First, let's look at the issues and developments that made news in the sector. Stay with us. The Nigerian Shippers Council holds sub-regional workshop and standby committee meeting on port concession. The Nimasa boss, Dakuku Peterside, whose foreign investors, says Africa ready for investment. MPA boss explains reason for the ban of used vehicles and rides through the land border. And now to the main stories. The Nigerian Shippers Council and the Union of African Shippers Council, in collaboration with United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, will on 25th and 26th of September hold a sub-regional workshop and joint standby committee meeting of Union of African Shippers Council. The workshop with the theme Port Concession in West and Central Africa, Impact on Economies of Member States, is expected to appraise the state of maritime transportation in West and Central Africa and other regions of the world, and proffer solutions to challenges facing the sector, assess implementation of World Trade Organization, trade facilitation agreement, and issues relating to port operations. Others are advocating for the development and maintenance of critical trade support facilities and infrastructure that would promote efficiency, competitiveness, cost reduction in the carriage of goods, as well as leakages to other markets. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dakuku Peterside, has charged foreign investors to tap into the opportunities that abound in the African maritime sector, as the continent is one of the largest in terms of cargo contributions to global maritime trade. Dakuku, who spoke at the Nigerian Business Summit held in Hamburg, Germany, said that Africa generates and receives a lot of cargo, and this makes it a market hub of the present and future. He added that Nigeria's maritime sector is specifically open to investment, as the federal government has put policies in place that will be beneficial to interested investors, as he advised the foreign investors to tap into the market of the future and the present, as Africa is the world's biggest untapped market waiting to be unveiled. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Port Authority, NPA, Hadiza Bala Usman, at the Regional Conference of International African Port and Harbour, explained reasons for banning the importation of used vehicles and rides through the land border was because they were being smuggled into the country through the neighboring countries. She also disclosed that the review of port concession agreement will be completed in the next 3 months, as NPA is meeting with terminal operators to get their input on the review agreement. The NPA boss said that others included in the concession review are the Office of the Attorney General, Bureau of Public Enterprises, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Federal Ministry of Transportation, and the NPA technical support from the World Bank, noting that Nigeria is capturing cargoes from her northern neighbors, especially Niger Republic, through the construction of road access from Kano through Maritime to Niger. And that's maritime news. Maritime update continues shortly. Stay with us.
Welcome to Port Support Services, otherwise called the PSSP. The PSSP, as it is popularly known, is an initiative of the Nigerian Shippers Council created to serve the public better. Just to help you navigate the portal, first log on to the website www.pssp.ng. There you'll find the basic information about PSSP, information on partners of the project standard operating procedure of the partners of the PSSP, and frequently asked questions, contact information. With the PSSP of the Nigerian Shippers Council, members of the public will be able to make complaints using the complaint form, track the status of the complaint, and make inquiries or give a feedback using the contact form. To submit a complaint, open your web browser and type www.pssp.ng. The home page will load. Click on the Make a Complaint. The login page will display, but you will need to be registered on the portal to be able to submit a complaint. If it's the first time of submitting a complaint, click on either the Register button or the Register link. To register, you will need to apply your email address, display name and password. After completing these fields, you should click on the Register button. If you have previously created an account, simply log in by supplying your email address and password. After you have successfully logged in, you should see the complaint form. The system assumes you are the main complainant. The complaint form has 5 sections: complaint details, service provider details, event or service description, other details, complaint description. In addition, you will find the yes and the no button, and this is how it works. Using the yes or no button indicates you are complaining on behalf of a company. If you're complaining on behalf of someone, you have to give us their details by clicking on the Add Detail button, then click on the Next button. From the pop-up list, select the type of company your complaint is about from the agency list and select the company from the companies list.
If you have just joined us, this is Maritime Updates reaching you courtesy of the Nigerian Shippers Council. For more details, please reach the Nigerian Shippers Council on our email, website, or better still, text the number showing on your screen. Ibom Deep Sea Port, Nigeria's emerging maritime masterstroke, is strategically situated in the Gulf of Guinea, among about 19 countries requiring seaport auxiliary maritime services. The port, which will serve the southeast middle belt and the south-south, will bring about industrialization of the state and reduce the congestion of the Lagos seaport. Details in this package. At the request for proposal bid opening and evaluation for Ibom Deep Sea Port held in Lagos, had in attendance Akwa Ibom State Governor Emmanuel Udom, Akwa Ibom Technical Committee Chairperson Ofom Osoro, Acting DG Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission ICRC Chidi Uzuwa, representatives of the Ministry of Transportation, amongst others. The chairperson, Akwa Ibom Technical Committee Mfong Usoro, enumerated on the transparent procedure for bidding process.
By April 2018, the RFP bid documents were uploaded again to the secure intralinked hosted virtual data room, and access was restricted to only the 3 shortlisted applicants. In July 2018, we had a pre-bid conference where all the bidders, the prospective bidders, were invited so that we could attend to any of the issues, the questions, and clarifications, the kind of due diligence conference. Again, all the members of the NPDSC were in attendance. So that now led us to the deadline for submission of the RFP documents. That deadline closed on the 14th of September. Then we agreed that the opening and the evaluation will commence the week of 17th of September. Now, all of these timelines were approved by NPDSC and the ICRC. We've always had the cooperation of the regulator at each level to make sure that we follow international best practice. We've always had the cooperation of the ministry, and the NPA-ESC is pleased that today we have reached a very critical milestone towards the development of the Ibom Deep Sea Port.
Chidi Izuwa said that the Ibom Deep Sea Port would create more jobs and transform the nation's economy.
Ibom Deep Water Port is going to be transformational, for the whole of Nigeria. It's part of that agenda of the ministry and the NPA to expand port capacity around the country. We are complaining about what has happened in Lagos. The only way to stop that congestion is to create deep water ports around the country, so that you have other ports that alleviate the capacity. They have the right depth, to attract post-Panamax vessels. So you bring in transportation costs. You also build in the ancillary infrastructure. In fact, what you're doing is you're democratizing development. That is what this project is all about. And
the governor appreciated the team led by the chairperson for their tireless effort in ensuring it sees the light of day.
The chairperson of the technical committee, she's worked so hard on this project, and all members of our team. We just pray that we can shorten the period a little, so that we can realize this much faster. Let me thank those that have expressed their interest, and I'm sure we'll follow due process and best practices ever seen in projects like this. I want to believe this will be one of the best we can ever see. Today, on the entire shoreline of Nigeria, where this project is to be located, still carries the deepest drought ever, and natural drought for that matter. So whichever investor will win the bid, I'm sure, will never regret it. It will be a very laudable project. We'll realize your investment quite early, move down the numbers. You can see what is happening in Lagos, so we are sure that will be a very, very viable alternative to what any investor could think about. I wish you a very successful deliberation today, and I think this is the last lap, Chidi.
yeah, this is the last.
So we proceed with opening of the hard copies first, and then we open the VDR. And after opening the hard copies, the press would witness it, and the bidders' representative will witness. And
The Secretary to the State Government emphasized on the derivables from the project as not just by the state, but also the entire nation.
The reason is to make sure that Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria grow much more rapidly as far as socioeconomic development is concerned. When you develop a deep sea port, I'm not talking about the river port, then you're going to have, like the chairperson said, very, very massive development of the catchment area for the first step, and then the larger area, which is in this case the south-south geopolitical zone, the southeast, the north-central, the northeast, and even the northwestern part of Nigeria. And when you do that, you can see that symbiotic relationship between Ibom Deep Sea Port and Ibom Industrial City, because the large vessels, like the chairperson said, Panama-type vessels or post-Panama. No vessel wants to berth in the seaport and then have them berth discharge cargo, then ships away with empty. That would not be useful. That would not be good business. So when you have an industrial city co-located with the deep sea port, then you have that symbiotic relationship that one fits the other. The second part of it is that the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Deacon Udom Emmanuel, is called very fondly by Akwa Ibomites and even the rest of Nigeria as Mr. Industrialization and Mr. Infrastructure Development. If you want rapid socioeconomic development of a nation, then you're going to have access to market. So you put yourself at the disposal of the world. That's what it means. So you get away to the world, and you get away for the world to reach you, and access of the world to where you are. And therefore, that can only happen when you have good road network, good rail network, air traffic, was aviation industry, and deep sea port.
The project site is expected to be strategically located and accessible through major existing and planned transport infrastructure such as airport, railway lines, federal and state roads. The Ibom Deep Seaport is expected to occupy 2,565 hectares of land area in Akwa Ibom State. The Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA, held its annual business luncheon in Lagos. WISTA can now formally contribute to discussion for increasing capacity in the maritime industry. Details in this package. WISTA, at its annual business luncheon in Lagos, said it had secured a seat at the International Maritime Organization, IMO, the apex legislative body for maritime activities globally. The president of the association, Mary Hammond, shared that WISTA's consultative status at the IMO would avail the association the opportunity to promote diversity, inclusion, and women's empowerment in global body.
Good morning. I welcome you all to yet another edition of WISTA Nigeria Business Luncheon Magazine Launch, which holds annually. The event brings the industry together and discuss issues in the industry and provide solutions for the growth of the country's economy. WISTA also intends to raise funds for projects like purchase of fishing boats, fishing nets, a boat engine, sponsoring cadets in their studies, among other projects. In the past, we had done much, and now we are focusing on the Aguilera Women Fishing Group in Anambra State of Nigeria. WISTA Nigeria is proud to present to you our personality of the year 2018, Mr. Usman. The theme of Women's International and Trading Association, that is our international body, this year 2018 is Women That Move the World. And we are convinced that Ms. Bala Usman falls in this category. Ms. Bala Usman has graciously agreed to be our cover girl for this year's magazine to be launched today. The theme for WISTA Nigeria Business Luncheon this year is Sustainable Opportunity for Seafarers in Nigeria and globally, the gender and multicultural crew prospect. That's what we're focusing on.
The president of Women Nigeria, Jan Chiazo, lauds WISTA's great work in moving the maritime industry forward.
And admirable efforts of my president, Mrs. Mary Hammond, and her wonderful team, the indefatigable ESCO, for indeed continuing with what we have set and what we met from our predecessors to setting WISTA Nigeria high. I thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to chip in, to say a word to us at this great occasion. The fact of the business luncheon has come to stay. This is where we share views, we rub minds with other intellects to know more about our industry. It pleases me to note that today's theme is on seafaring. And the fact of seafaring is also very key to WISTA, not only WISTA Nigeria, but even the international body. And so it is gratifying to note that Nigerian chapter is doing just what the international body has always wanted us to do. It also pleases me to note that the Lagos State government is continuing its interest in the vision of WISTA Nigeria and WISTA as a whole. We appreciate His Excellency sending his representative to us. It pleases us to note that the regime of His Excellency and body actually appreciates the fact that the sea leg is the only gateway to any nation's economic growth. And we also admire and we applaud the efforts of the regime of His Excellency and body towards ensuring that our ports are viable and that we have more seaports in order to decongest the ports in Apapa, which is causing us a lot of pain. We would assure Lagos State government that WISTA will continually support its own mission as long as Lagos State government continues to associate with Vista Harbour through Vista Nigeria. I'd like to say that today we're going to listen to great speakers on the great theme of seafaring, and I'm sure that our president and the executives have put together great facilitators who will tell us more about seafaring. Thank you all very much for being part of this beautiful family, Vista Nigeria. Thank you for coming, and I know that we'll continue to sail high. Up Vista. Thank you.
Also speaking, a veteran master mariner, Captain Adewale Ishola, commended Vista Nigeria for sponsoring the nation's first female master mariner and empowering women groups.
The first is that women are very creative and efficient in managing businesses. By your nature, women entrepreneurship constitutes the most viable and veritable vehicle for self-sustaining economic development. Therefore, the development of opportunities for women is imperative, not only for reasons of equity, but because it makes economic sense, as women-owned enterprises are being adjudged to thrive better. But that does not mean men are not also doing wonders.
The event also featured the launch of a Wisdom magazine with the managing director of Nigerian Port Authority, NPA, as the personality on the cover page. These are some of the mails we received this week. I stumbled on your YouTube channel as I watched the episode where you discussed with the former acting MD of Nigerian Inland Waterways, Mrs. Ezenwa, which raised my curiosity to ask this question, and I wish you can bring a resource person in the authority to shed more light on what causes the delay in developing other proposed seaports in Nigeria, such as Calabar, Akwa Ibom, which I have been reading on newspaper, or will they remain on the drawing board? That's Elder Livinis Basi from Apapa, Lagos. I must say that to achieve development in the maritime industry, key investments in infrastructure should be made. Investments in rail and road. NIWA must also be funded to ensure dredging in other ports so as to decongest Lagos. Cost of doing business must also be addressed, and all government maritime agencies must work together to achieve a common goal of maritime development to ensure our ports are competitive. Emeka Nwabueze from Lagos. We must say a big thank you to all of you who sent in mails this week. Your comments and contributions are appreciated. We ask that you keep them coming. To join this interactive session, send your questions, comments, complaints, observations to maritimeupdate@yahoo.com with your name and location. We implore you that you keep it civil and simple so we can read them. And that's where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Maritime Update. I must thank you most kindly for being a part of this week's edition. Please remember to send your comments, complaints, and observations on our email or text the number showing on your screen. This show promises to bring you yet another exciting package next week. For more details, you can also contact the Nigerian Shippers Council on our website or text the number showing on your screen. You can also view this episode or any of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, Maritime Update. When you visit, please subscribe for free and also click the notification button. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Until I come your way again, same time next week, it's goodbye.